of speaking the truth. Right. In case someone is able to go to Saudi Arabia and then to perform the Hajj, you've not been questioned. Well, your intention, you know your intentions. Is it a crime or not, as you've been forbidden to attend it?
True? I couldn't follow you, please.
Right. I said in your khutbah.
Yes, I said you shouldn't tell lies.
No.
Right.
Right.
So, for the sake of Hajj, can you tell lies? Is that the question?
No.
No.
While at the moment, we've been allowed not to go for Hajj.
Correct.
Right. And if you find your way inside Saudi Arabia, and then you perform your Hajj, is it wrong?
This is not a lie.
But,
to perform Hajj is not a lie.
But in this case, to do
it is a defiance of the government's order which is not authorized to issue that order. This is not a lie. The lie would be, sometimes Ahmadis ask me that by making wrong declaration on the visa form, if we can go for Hajj, will that be all right? I said no. It will be a total waste, and it will be a total negation of the purpose of Hajj itself. So you will not only be wasting your money and time, you will be destroying all your good deeds even before that. Hajj and falsehood, I mean, how can they go together? It's impossible. Yes, please.
सवाल यह है कि औरतों को अपने मखसूस अय्याम में मस्जिद में नमाज पढ़ना तो ठीक नहीं है, क्या उनका मस्जिद में आना भी जायज़ है किसी मस्जिद?
The question is that the ladies, when they are passing through their menstruation, they can't come and join people in prayer, in congregation prayer in the mosque, but just to enter mosque that period, during that period, whether it is permissible or not. The question is, why are they not permitted to say prayer in the mosque at that time? The simple reason is that there is always a danger of some less careful ladies dropping blood or something in the mosque, thereby making the mosque unclean for those who prostrate there. Mosque is specially kept clean not only because we remember God, because we remember God in every place, but also because we prostrate here and we touch our forehead repeatedly to the ground, with the ground. So the ground must be kept as clean as possible for hygienic reasons. And if these things are permitted and taken casually, then there is every likelihood and danger that ultimately many careless persons may cause the floor of the mosque to become dirty, and in a sort of filth would be added, which with the process of time decays and becomes stagnant and stinking. So that is, as I understand, the purpose. So mosques should not be frequented by ladies during the period of their menstruation. But we can say prayer everywhere, even in the houses. There this does not apply, because that is something which is unavoidable. So that is why we have prayer cloths for our houses, so that if there is some place which is unclean, to put the prayer cloth and then it's all right. But at the same time, let me tell you that all matters of jurisprudence and edict should be referred to Mufti of Silsila and should not be asked casually in such meetings like this question and answer session. because sometimes the jurisprudence matters have to be referred to the specialists, and offhand one may not think of the correct answer. And because Khalifa is the final authority, so I take very special care not to give an opinion offhand, lest later on some other things are brought to my notice and I have to change that opinion. So remember this, that these sessions are not for questions belonging to jurisprudence. The proper procedure is that such questions should be referred to the Mufti-e-Silsila, who is a specialist on this, and if he answers in a manner that it does not satisfy the questioner, then the questioner refers that answer to me or to the Khalifa, whoever it is. And then he refers that question to a board of ulama which form the ifta body, the body of edicts, issuance of edicts or jurisprudence, is a regular body which includes lawyers, even some scientists, professors, and a large number of religious scholars. So the procedure is that they contemplate it, and sometimes they take months, and in some cases even more than a year. I have been a member of that body, so I know how painstakingly we went into details of every such question which was referred to us. And we made thorough investigations, reading so many books of the past, Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Ahmed's writings on that subject, previous Khulafa's writings on that subject, and so on and so forth. And then an opinion was formed, which was submitted to the Khalifa for his final approval. Then it became an edict in itself. So this is the proper procedure. In future, try to avoid such questions as belong to jurisprudence and follow the procedure which I have already laid out before you. Yes, please.
My question is, who was the first man Almighty Allah created?
That first man was created in such a remote past that even the scientists who have investigated this issue have not been able to pinpoint exactly who was the first man and whether it was a man or not a man. So the latest discovery so far is that it was not a man, it was a woman. You see? And that woman happened to belong to that part of the world which is your country, Africa. Which part of Africa are you from? So it was not the West Africa, according to them so far, but East Africa, where the first woman ancestor of human beings was born. But it is still controversial, and some scientists want to drag that person back to Europe and say that it was Europe, it was the seat of first human being. But the scientific evidence in favor of that woman is very strong. I have read that, and I believe it is very likely that that is correct, unless of course some new evidence is unearthed. So God does not go into such detail about creation. What God tells us is this, that the first man who was worthy of receiving revelation was Adam. So as far as religious people are concerned, we should be fed with information which is relevant to religion. And that much has been explained in the Holy Quran. That the first man who was capable of receiving revelation from God, and that again is conditioned. The first man of this series of religions on which Islam is born.